advanced data visualization using advanced charts and geographic information systems charts, or GIS. Parallel coordinates plot are charts used for examining data with more than two variables. It includes a different vertical axis for each variable. Each observation is represented by drawing a line on the parallel coordinates plot connecting each vertical axis. The height of the line on each vertical axis represents the value taken by that observation for the variable corresponding to the vertical axis. The tree map is useful for visualizing hierarchical data along multiple dimensions. This figure displays a parallel coordinates plot for a sample of Major League Baseball players. The figure contains data for 10 players who play first base and 10 players who play second base, represented by 2B and 1B. For each player, the leftmost vertical axis plots his total number of home runs. That's HR. The center vertical axis plots the player's total number of stolen bases. That's SB. And the rightmost vertical axis plots the player's batting average. Various colors differentiate 1B players from 2B players. 1B players are in the lighter color, 2B player in the darker color. We can make several interesting statements upon examining figure 3.33. The sample of 1B players tend to hit lots of home runs, or HR, but have very few stolen bases, or SB. Conversely, the sample of 2B players steal more bases but generally have fewer HR, although some 2B players have many HR and many SB. Finally, 1B players tend to have higher batting averages, that's AVG, than 2B players. We may infer from this figure that the traits of 1B players may be different from those of 2B players. Players at 1B tend to be offensive stars who hit for power and average, whereas players at 2B are often faster and more agile in order to handle the defensive responsibilities of the position, traits that are not common in strong HR hitters. Parallel coordinates plots in which you can differentiate categorical variable values using color, as in this figure, can be very helpful in identifying common traits across multiple dimensions. SmartMoney's map of the market, as shown in this figure, is a tree map for analyzing stock market performance. In the map of the market, each rectangle represents a particular company. Apple is highlighted in this figure. The shading of the rectangle represents the overall performance of the company's stock over the previous 52 weeks. The map of the market is also divided into market sectors: healthcare, financials, oil and gas, etc. The size of each company's rectangle provides information on the company's market capitalization size relative to the market sector and the entire market. Figure 3.34 shows that Apple has a very large market capitalization relative to other firms in the technology sector, and that it has performed exceptionally well over the previous 52 weeks. An investor can use a tree map in this figure to quickly get an idea of the performance of individual companies relative to other companies in their market sector, as well as the performance of entire market sectors relative to other sectors. Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, are a system that merges maps and statistics to present data collected over different geographies. It helps in interpreting data and observing patterns. This figure displays a map of the Cincinnati, Ohio metropolitan area showing the relative concentrations of Cincinnati Zoo members. The more darkly shaded areas represent areas, darkly shaded areas represent areas with a greater number of members. The GIS chart in this figure combines a heat map and a geographical map to help the reader analyze this data set. A high concentration of zoo members in a band to the northeast of the zoo that includes the cities of Mason and Hamilton as circled. Similarly, the city of Florence towards the southwest of the zoo. These observations could prompt the zoo manager to identify the characteristics that the populations of Mason, Hamilton, and Florence share to learn what is leading them to be zoo members. If these characteristics can be identified, the manager can then try to identify other nearby populations that share these characteristics as potential markets for increasing the number of zoo members.